In today's video, we're going to look at authenticity, and if authenticity is really such a very high vibration, even higher than love, when we talk about vibration in this dimension. Please stay till the end because I'm going to give you some tips or some strategies that you can use to uncover your authentic self. My name is Sophia Low, and today I felt the urge to give you a bit more info about my background. I have degrees in psychology, literature and education, and I'm also an accomplished artist, a published poet, internationally awarded photographer and professional dancer. I've been mentored by Master Sri Arkashna. I'm also at the moment being mentored by him. He's a Himalayan yogi and a spiritual master. Why am I telling this to you now? It is just that this topic is quite important, one of the most important ones. This is the one that I feel is at the heart of Create with Sophia. Create with Sophia, to me, is about really discovering your true self, because then you can vibrate at the highest vibration and you are closest to your higher self, and from there that is the place from where you create your reality. So I want to help you, I want to guide you so that you can create the most beautiful life that you can imagine or dream of. So that is what I'm dedicated to, and that is also that is the reason for this channel. I think I should start this video by just giving you examples of when you are not being authentically yourself. If you are in a job that you hate, you are not being authentically yourself because you do something that is not resonating with you. If you say to somebody, "Oh, that doesn't matter to me, it's okay," but it does, you are not being authentically yourself. If you behave in a way that you think is acceptable to the society, but it is causing you harm or stress, you're not being authentically yourself. So the way you feel, if you're not feeling that feeling of joy and happiness and peace, that is often because you are not being authentic. You are being something that is in disalignment with your higher self. So let's look now at being authentic and how we can become aware of when we are not authentic. I'm going to explain it through a lens of psychology, but also through the lens of spirituality. If we take a psychological perspective on authenticity, there is Jung's work that we'll look a little bit at, and the three things he talks about: your persona, your shadow side, and what I will refer to as the masculine and feminine energies, and then the self, which I will rather discuss as the higher self. So those are the four things. But first, let's look at authenticity. Why is it considered such a high vibration? There's work done by neuroscientists, but I couldn't find the article that I wanted to reference. So basically they've done tests and found that the highest frequency, that was emotional frequency, that was emitted, they can measure it now, was when they did the tests, was authenticity. It's 4 times higher than that of love. So I was wondering, because we all know, and I always call love the essence or the fiber of the universe. knowing that if we, as we evolve, as we grow in consciousness, as we become enlightened, we grow in love and how we experience it. We see the interconnectedness, start to love not only the people around us and the greater humanity, but also plants, animals, even the mineral world. But when you ascend, when you move from this reality, from being in this human body, and you decide to move to another realm and not come back, when you ascend, you become less. You will still have your core identity, you will still have your imprint, this authentic blueprint that is you, that is uniquely you. This is the vibration of authenticity. This is the authenticity I'm talking about. This core essence, which is the expression of consciousness, the true expression and unique expression that can only be in time, in this human world, or even in this universe, as you. It is not the identity that we acquire through growing up, through patterns that we learn, through beliefs, but it is the true self, the true you. So that can be carried on in higher dimensions till you, when you eventually, should it be the desire, just reunite with the great I am, or the all, then it's only the true love, the pure love that is at the core of creation, the core of the universe. Then it's only love that is left. But before that, you have this unique vibration that is authentically you. If you don't express yourself in the world as this authentic being, you are robbing the world of what you can be, what you can, of what you are, of what you bring. And this is not your fault. But we can't hide in our comfort zone, pretending to be something we're not, or not examining ourselves to really get to who we truly are in our core being. So when we come into this life, we are like a flower. Let's compare it to a lotus, because the lotus is such a beautiful, it's a feminine symbol. I actually wrote a poem about that I will put at the end of the video. We are like a flower that opens to show our true selves. So, but when something opens, it becomes beautiful, but also vulnerable. So that is the reason why many people will take very long, or sometimes refuse to let go of the walls that they build around them, to open and to show who they truly are, or even discover who they are. Because children are not brought into the world and brought up to and allowed to do that. They are actually suppressed, told that they must be something that their parents were, or society think is right. And if somebody don't show them, or if they are not exposed to the truth, it is very difficult for them to accept themselves fully and to truly blossom. So let's look at the 4 things that I said Jung described. If you can get this right, makes it easier to discover who you authentically are, to live like that. I'm going to combine this with my own knowledge and the spiritual guidance that I got. Let's first look at the persona. So the persona is there. It is basically the image that you project to the world. We have different personas. You will be somebody different at work than you will be at the friend's dinner. You will be at home. There's nothing wrong with it, because you can't go to your boss and say, oh, I'm not tired, I just want to put my feet up, anything like that. So you have to behave in a certain way, which is acceptable. There's nothing wrong with it. You won't discuss intimate things with certain people. You will have a more, say, a bubbly persona, where you will show more vulnerability to your partner or intimate partner or your friends. The persona, you get the point. I don't have to explain the persona even more. There's just one thing I want you to take note of, and that is, if you have a persona, the dog just walked in, if you heard it. If there is a persona, or if you cling to this persona so much that it becomes entangled with your authentic self, with who you are, and you rather think that it's you, and you start to behave like you are this projected image, that is when when you get into trouble. That is when the personality disorders start to happen. And that almost always originated from your when growing up. Some people might develop a false self that they then later perceive as their true self and can't distinguish. The problem is that this can't be kept up. You can't project a false self and be someone that is false for a prolonged time, or if there is no breaks in between. That is why you will find that somebody might have a personality, which is this persona at work, and everybody loves the person, or when they're socializing, but when they're at home or with their intimate partners, they become their true selves, which is then an undeveloped and emotionally immature person. Second thing that we should look at when we want to discover to be our authentic self is we have to look at the shadow. Now, the shadow is that side that all of us have, that contains things that we don't like about ourselves, things that we are afraid to show because we are afraid that we will be rejected, we will not be fully accepted. And especially because everybody is doing it, or most people are too afraid to show different sides of them, it becomes more and more something that is kept in the shadows. So it does not mean if you recognize something negative in yourself that it is you, that you have to identify with it, but you should face it and look at the reason so that you can integrate it, so that you can, it is as if you digest it, and then it's not something you have to hide from or something to be afraid of anymore. That's things like jealousy, or it can be anger, it can be I can't think of other things but you know, negative things that you think is negative, that things that's dark, things that, say, even feelings of suicidal thoughts. That is the things that you should face. And when you, like they say, when there's something you should face that you really don't want to face, don't run away from it. That's what people do. They distract themselves, or they would use substances or anything, not to see that side of themselves, because they think it is so bad or so unacceptable. But like I said, it's not something you're going to do. It's not your identity. You are a human being, and if something like that is lurking there in the shadows, show the light on it, confront it, and then you can change it. It won't be part of who you are then. There are some things that are in the shadow side, that can be used positively, but only if you are enlightened, if you become enlightened. So that's why I say shed the light on it, even being vulnerable about it, by saying, yes, sometimes I get jealous because of that. But you can see that the moment you become aware, awareness is the key. When you become aware of it, that's only then when you can change it. The third thing is looking at the masculine and feminine energies. That is in both male, female, no matter what you identify as. It is not a gender thing. But often people will suppress one of that, seeing the one as negative. An easy example is when boys are taught not to show their emotions or cry, and they carry it with them, and then it hinders them from being their authentic self. The last thing is the self. Jung calls it the self, but I'm going to talk about your higher self. Fourthly there is the higher self. I talk about it in many of my videos, so you can refer back to that. Your higher self is the self that has access to the greater consciousness. Through your higher self, you can tap into the knowledge that is collective. It is also through the higher self that you can get guidance. Your higher self is the one that is the closest, I will say, to your gut feel, your intuition. That feeling, your gut feeling, is connected to the higher self. That's the most pure essence of your being, more than just this human spirit in this human body. So I'm not going to elaborate on that, but you can see that the closer you let yourself be, the more you are tapped into and listen to your higher self, the more you will live authentically. So I just wanted to mention this one way in which you can really progress in getting to know yourself and your authentic self, who you truly are. The most useful method is to meditate, because when you meditate, you quiet the mind, and because all of these things are in the subconscious, you want to reach that. But what you do when you meditate, when you're in a deep meditative state, then you become the observer, but not the observer of the reality, the things that surround you, the things, the thoughts. You become the observer of the self, of yourself. Coming out of the meditation, you will carry this on. It will help if you do meditation in the morning to get you in that state during the day, where you can objectively look at yourself. So meditation is like the trigger that puts you in that vibration, can I almost say, so that you can observe yourself. I often have to remind myself to go back to that state and look at myself from the outside. And that perspective is devoid of ego. And it's one of compassion, self-compassion also. It's very loving. And if you can get into that vibe to do that, you will observe where you are not being true to yourself, where you are not being authentic. I'll definitely make more videos about this topic, as it's a very extensive topic and can't be covered in such a short video. I trust that you found value in it. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'd really appreciate it, because then I know what to elaborate on. And also, if you found value in it, please share and like. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe, so that I can build the channel, get the message out to more people, spread the light. As always, I'm sending you infinite love from my heart, and enjoy old year, evening, new year. I'm talking to you in 2024, except for the shorts that I post every day. Goodbye.